Every guardian at the tower liked the dawning a lot, but Nezarec, who lived in the wastes of the moon, did not. Nezarec hated the dawning, the whole dawning season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be perhaps he was a witness devotee, or it could be that his reliquaries were made into a tea. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his master or his heart, he wandered his pyramid pondering its art, staring over at the earth with a sour, darkened glower, at the warm lights of the last city and the vanguard's tower. For he knew every guardian below on the earth would be curled up with friends near a crackling hearth. "And they're baking their cookies," he snarled with a sneer. "Tomorrow's the dawning. It's practically here." Then he growled with his armored fingers nervously drumming, "I must find some way to keep the dawning from coming. For tomorrow I know all the guardians looking for fun will wake up bright and early, they'll rush for their guns. And then, oh the light, 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 light. There's one thing I hate, all the light, 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 light. And they'll zoom through those pathways oh so narrow, racing round on their exotic sparrows. They'll defeat all the champions with anti-barrier bows and arrows. They'll leap through the air, they'll fire their rockets. Some warlocks will even pull supernovas from out their pockets. They'll cast rifts, nimbly dodge, and put up barriers, all to protect their crucible-playing rift carriers. Then they'll play nasty games like Dares of Eternity, which I'm told is the height of this year's modernity. Then they'll make ear-splitting noises, casting their supers, mowing down all of the Red Legion Cabal troopers. Then the Guardians, the old and the new, will sit down to a feast. And they'll feast, and they'll feast, and they'll feast, 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 feast. They'll feast on dawning cookies that they've just baked. Cookies like the Infinite Forest Cake. Infinite Forest Cake is a bake that I just cannot take. And then they'll do something I hate most of all the guardians at the tower, the tall and the small. They'll stand close together, their clan XP advancing. They'll stand in a circle and they will all start dancing. And they'll dance, and they'll dance, and they'll dance, 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 dance. And the more Nezarec thought of this whole dawning dance, he knew he must stop it. He must take this chance. For too many years I've put up with this now. I must stop the dawning from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. Nezarec got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the pyramid echoing his cries. I'll make a quick guardian outfit as a disguise. And he chuckled and clucked, with this outfit I won't look scary. With this gear and a ship, I'll look just like a blueberry.
You're a mean one, Nezarec. You really are the worst. You're as cuddly as a scream when they explode with a burst, Nezarec. You're like updates to the Telesto, eternally cursed. You're a monster, Nezarec. Your heart's an empty hole. You prey upon the desperate, the scorner on your bankroll, Nezarec. I wouldn't help you with the public event while out on patrol.
All I need is a jump ship. Nezarec looked around. But since jump ships were scarce, there were none to be found. Did that stop Nezarec? Ha! Nezarec simply said. If I can't find a jump ship, I'll make one instead. So he took some drowned alloy, and he took some dark strand, and he crafted a mighty jump ship by hand. Then he loaded some weapons and put on his armor, and left on his jump ship to hunt some XP farmers. Nezarec started his engine, the jump ship leapt into space, off to the last city and the vanguard's home base. All the lanterns shined bright, the dawning was in full swing. Guardians from all over the holiday did bring. Nezarec grew quite sour at the sight of the thing. "This is the place," old Nezarec hissed. He left his jump ship, hands balled into fists. He landed in the tower and past armory racks. None of these guardians were ready for old Nezarec. He got stuck only once, for a minute or two, as he passed through security, being forced to queue. Sneaking past Rahul, Banshee, and Shax, preparing to commit some most heinous acts. Then he slithered and slunk, moving dawning supplies. The Lightbearers would be in for such a surprise. Cookies and weapons and plenty dawning cheer, bounties and quests, even exotic gear. Then he dragged all his loot, giving the Vanguard the slip, loading it onto his nearby jump ship.
You're a vile one, Nezarec. Plants die where your shadow falls. You have all the tender sweetness of an unstoppable cursed thrall, Nezarec. Given the choice between the two of you, I'd take the unstoppable cursed thrall. You're a rotter, Nezarec. You're the cause of unlucky drops. You're the true final boss of all the many Vanguard ops, Nezarec. You're probably the reason why Xur never has any good armor in any of his shops.
Then he slunk to the dawning oven. He took all they baked. He took the gallardoodles and the infinite forest cake. He cleaned out the cookies, tossed ingredients in the gutter. He even stole all the bricks of savory taken butter. Then he loaded all of the food onto his jump ship with glee. "Now," grinned Nezarec, "I'll steal the dawning tree." As Nezarec moved the tree, as he started to shove, he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and saw armor with sheen. Saint 14 had just arrived on the scene. He stared at Nezarec and said, "Guardian, why? Why are you moving the dawning tree? Why?" But you know old Nezarec was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my good Saint 14, something's gone out of order. There's no dawning tree down in the Elixni quarter, so I'm taking it down there to the fallen, my friend. I'll share it down there, it's only to lend." And his lie fooled Saint 14. He tried to give him the slip, but Saint 14 helped him load it onto the ship. And Saint 14 went back to his doves. Nezarec launched his ship and took off for above. He flew from the tower, the old crooked liar, and began looking for a place to light the dawning tree on fire, somewhere public so everyone could admire. And the one bit of cheer he left in the tower was so small and so hidden they would have to scour every nook and cranny of the Vanguard's base, while Nezarec flew ever further into space.
You pain me, Nezarec, like a scorned sniper's crossbow shots. You're a disciple of the witness filled with wicked evil thoughts, Nezarec. Your soul is an appalling dump heap overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of rubbish imaginable, mangled up and tangled up knots. You're a foul one, Nezarec. You're a villainous, foul boss. You're so impossibly evil for adjectives, I'm at a loss, Nezarec. I wish you so much ill, and hope that our paths will never cross.
It was quarter to dawn as he left from his trip, the Guardians unaware of the gifts in his ship. Filled to the brim with loot, their cookies, their cheer, their exotics and weapons flying from the pale sphere. Back to the moon, to his pyramid ship, he drove his loot back to the pit to dump it. "Farewell to the dawning," he was horribly humming. "The Guardians will learn that no dawning is coming. They're just gearing up, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or so. Then the Guardians of the tower will all be in woe." "That's a sight," grinned Nezarec, "that I simply must see." And he accessed a camera that was nearby Banshee. And he did see a sight all across the tower. But it was not the sight of guardians so sour. Across the whole tower could be heard a groove, and all the guardians began to move. Every guardian of the tower, the tall and the small, began dancing without any dawning tree at all. He hadn't stopped the dawning from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And Nezarec, in his pit filled with woe, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without cookies. It came without loot. It came without any good enemies to shoot. He puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then Nezarec thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe the dawning, he thought, isn't all about gear. Maybe the dawning, perhaps, is about bringing cheer. And what happened then? Well, no one can say, but perhaps Nezarec's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the true meaning of the dawning came through, and Nezarec found the charity of 10 guardians plus 2. And now that his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his goods through the bright solar light. With a smile in his soul, he left from the moon, excited to visit those he'd see very soon. He flew back to the earth, he brought back their guns, he brought everything back so they would all have some fun. He brought back their rockets and their swords and their rifles, brought back the cheer that he'd tried to stifle. He brought everything back, all the cookies for them to bake, and he himself, Nezarec, had a piece of infinite forest cake. Welcome dawning, bring your cheer. Cheer to all guardians, far and near.
You're a mean one, Nezarec. You really are the worst. You're as cuddly as a scream when they explode with a burst, Nezarec. You're like updates to the Telesto, eternally cursed. You're a monster, Nezarec. Your heart's an empty hole. You prey upon the desperate, the scorner on your bankroll, Nezarec. I wouldn't help you with the public event while out on patrol. You're a vile one, Nezarec. Plants die where your shadow falls. You have all the tender sweetness of an unstoppable cursed thrall, Nezarec. Given the choice between the two of you, I'd take the unstoppable cursed thrall. You're a rotter, Nezarec. You're the cause of unlucky drops. You're the true final boss of all the many Vanguard ops, Nezarec. You're probably the reason why Xur never has any good armor in any of his shops. You pain me, Nezarec, like a scorned sniper's crossbow shots. You're a disciple of the witness filled with wicked evil thoughts, Nezarec. Your soul is an appalling dump heap overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of rubbish imaginable, mangled up and tangled up knots. You're a foul one, Nezarec. You're a villainous, foul boss. You're so impossibly evil for adjectives, I'm at a loss, Nezarec. I wish you so much ill, and hope that our paths will never cross.